Hello, it's me, Mario. I'm not sure where that came from. I did not grow up playing Mario games, so that was a weird one. Hello. I realise I look super bundled up today. That's because I just wanted to be comfy. One of the things on my list of small acts of self-care that I can do when I need to and don't know what to do is bundling up and stuff, because I like being comfortable, and also it makes me feel comforted. Those words must have the same like origin somehow. Yeah, so hello, I'm here. It's Tuesday and it's about 1:15, and we've abolished all manner of schedule, all idea and concept of schedule. That's broadly what I'm here to talk about today, is the utter abolishment of scheduling. Not complete abolishment of scheduling. I cannot, in fact, stop anything from needing to happen at a particular time. But for the large part, I am trying to do things on a more flexible schedule. So before we get into that, this is my sad hand. Remember where I have to hold it up in order to illustrate that I do, in fact, possess hands. I don't know. I don't sleep well, and I become very strange. I'm strange? I don't think I become strange. I think I'm just strange. Yeah, so the bad hand and in general, my left side in general, is significantly better today. I am still in constant pain with it, but it's much, much lower, and it's still very painful to use, so I'm still not using it really today, and I'm hoping that I can sort of start getting back into doing stuff. I actually, about half an hour ago, 15 minutes ago, something like that, I sent an email which I typed with both of my hands, and that was very painful, but it which means it sounds like it was a terrible idea. It wasn't a terrible idea. I haven't refreshed this, so it thinks I've been live for 0 seconds. There we go, that's much better. Yeah, so I knew that the email reply was going to be relatively short, which is strange for me. I'm normally very verbose. So I was like, okay, I'll type this one, because then it's a good, because I struggle a lot with knowing, like, it's easy when it has been incredibly painful to be very reticent to resume doing whatever it was that was making the pain worse. So I wanted to do like a gentle reintroduction to see if it was still painful. I'm also doing the thing now that I also do when wearing gloves, which is I wear them for like 10 minutes and then go, oh well, I remember that these are itchy because they're like £1 from Primark. What was I saying? Oh yeah. As you can see, the brain fog has not lifted. But yeah, it's much less painful. Like, I mean, even holding my hand like this the last couple of days would have been incredibly painful. So that is a huge, huge relief. Because obviously I need my hand to do anything. It is also a bit scary because, I mean, it was scary anyway, but what's worrying is that, so I don't want to use it for the rest of today, and I want to be careful about, yeah, pushing that sleeve up was unpleasant. I want to be careful about using it tomorrow, but I also need by Friday, or I think she said Sunday at the latest, but I don't want to do Sunday. I need to hand in the submission for my final dissertation supervision. I haven't written anything since my last supervision because I haven't been able to, because I haven't been well enough, or I haven't been able to type, or I haven't felt able to do it in a different way, and that's a little bit scary. I don't like doing things last minute with deadlines. It does not sit well with my anxiety, but I'm going to have to this time. I do know what it is I need to do. and it's just a question of seeing how much I can get done safely. Bearing in mind that I also, like, I want to balance my hand spoons, as it were, so that I don't just spend all of them on studying, or all of them on work, or all of them on, I don't know, cleaning. I'm really behind on cleaning. I haven't been able to help very much at all. I've done some tidying. I can carry stuff from place to place with this hand. And yeah, I'm laughing at this quite a lot now, because I think I'm past the worst of the existential terror of suddenly not being able to function in the way I was. Which I think anytime anyone says the phrase existential terror, there's an inherent, like, assumption that you're, I don't know, that it's hyperbole or that it's not that bad or something, but yeah, it's called terror for a reason. But yeah, I'm generally feeling a lot better. My back's been hurting a lot, and my new chair is lost again by UPS in the same way that UPS lost my laptop earlier this year. I'm just gonna leave it this time and hope it eventually turns up, but I'm really, don't use UPS. This is like an anti-advert. just don't do it. Yeah, so until that comes, I'm stuck in this chair. I've been trying to use my egg sitter. Actually, you know what? I should put the egg sitter on now. The problem is that it's, like, slippery. I guess I could take the, I'm too high up now. I'm gonna, hold on. There we go. I could take the cover off it and then it might not be as slippy and it might be easier to use, but it also doesn't quite fit the chair. And one of the problems with the chair is that it slants down slightly, which is the opposite of what you want a chair to do in order for your legs to be in the right place. And then your spine to be in the right place and stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, it's a work in progress. At some point my chair will appear, or I will spend more hours of my life on hold waiting to scream at UPS whilst simultaneously going, I'm so sorry, I know it's not your fault, to the person on the end of the phone. It's not your fault that your company is terrible, but also you have to be the recipient of me telling you that your company is terrible. Yeah, so I think the thing that's hard about all of this is that, so this is the first really big flare that I've had since the diagnosis. And whilst in a way nothing has changed, because I still have the same condition I've had for apparently a decade, it feels very different, and I'm relating to it in a very different way and observing it in a very different way. And that's quite hard. Ultimately, it's beneficial because I've been able to listen, like I mentioned yesterday, I've been listening to a fibromyalgia podcast, helpfully called the Fibromyalgia Podcast. It was not hard to find, that one. Yeah, so I've been listening to that, and that podcast talks about a dream week and organising your week in a way that spreads things out and works with the rhythm of what your body is able to do at any given time, rather than what I have been doing, which is pushing through it to do what I think I need to do, which is not necessarily what I actually need to do. Basically, I'm very bad at being mediocre at anything, and I'm even worse at being acceptable at anything. I don't like doing things half-heartedly, and I don't do that very well. Not that you should do life half-heartedly, but more that you also don't need to push yourself as ridiculously as I tend to. You know, it's fine to have time where you can't do things. But I've still not, that's one of the things I've still not managed to get into my brain. It's something that comes as a result of, so I was what gets wonderfully termed a gifted child. I hate the term. It sounds like you've been given something that if you don't do something good with it, then you're a terrible person, which is much what the experience of that felt like. And you have a childhood where people encourage you when you're doing things well, because of course you do. Why would you not encourage your child when they're doing something well? Like, it's ridiculous that you would do anything else. But the byproduct of that is that then I grew up with my entire self being based around what I was achieving, because I was achieving lots and people were saying that it was good. And so I have a sort of not perfectionism so much as ridiculously overblown high standards that comes from that. And I know it does. And that does help a bit in terms of combating it, but it doesn't stop it, unfortunately. Only therapy has helped. Therapy and a large amount of mentoring about how I'm not actually meant to do 200,000 things every day, and if I do 199,999, then I've failed. Yeah, that's how my brain. That's genuinely how my brain works. That isn't actually hyperbole. The thing that my brain weasels do is if I partially succeed, that counts as a failure. It's really hard when your brain sees everything in a very binary way like that it's either complete success or complete failure and nothing in between. Because realistically, I am in fact human and can only do so much. And one of the things that this is going to be a really rambly day, by the way, because I've just got lots of thoughts. One of the things that the podcast talks about is how healing is a full-time job. Like, it's basically the podcast motto. And I do absolutely believe that. It goes in line with all of the orthoprophographies I've read. I still can't pronounce that name. Illness narratives. I'm just going to stick with illness narratives. I know orthopathography is kind of more specific, but I'm just going to go with illness narrative for now. All of those that I've read, they all bear the same refrain of I had to put my health as a priority, as my top priority, in order to see any improvement in it, or any stability even. What is going on with this music? I'm gonna thumbs down this one pretzel. We were doing really well with the music up until then. I'm trying to train Pretzel to be less randomly EDM on the chill playlist. Although I've just put it on an artist playlist today because I know this artist is generally more chill. What the fuck was I saying? This is the problem with not having lots of people watching, is that when you have people watching you, they can remind you what you last said. Yeah, so anyway, the point is that I'm doing, yes, I need to make healing my priority and my health my priority. But what I've been doing is making productivity and producing things and making sure I'm doing enough and that I am enough and fighting really hard to be enough, when in fact that's not how it works, because I'm already enough and so are you. Yeah, so I think also accepting that, because I've tried for years and years to be normal in terms of my relationship with warnings. So it was so refreshing and lovely to hear the podcast say, oh no, we don't do mornings. the day starts at 10 a.m, nothing occurs before 10 a.m. And that was so nice, because every time I have to do mornings, I just turn into an awful monster, because I sleep so badly. I can't control to an extent, like I can do as much as I can to make sure my sleep hygiene is good so that I'm, as set up to have good sleep as I can. But then one of the things that fibro does is it messes with your sleep. So, there's only ever going to be so much I can do about that. So yeah, I now don't exist before 10 a.m. either, I've decided. I might occasionally be up before 10 a.m, depending on when I've gotten to sleep. I was up before 10 a.m. Oh no, I wasn't. No, I was up at 10 a.m. today. But yeah, so what I am needing to do now is think about, because I'm a person who works well with structure, but I need to think about a structure that isn't based on I will work 25 hours a week and I will study 25 hours a week. And yes, that is what I was doing. And no, I should not have been, because if you're going along with me with this thread of logic, that's 2 part-time jobs, but with so many hours that it becomes more than a full-time job on top of the full-time job of healing. Yeah, and then I've been doing this and stuff as well, and like I want to do these things. I've been really enjoying it. One of the reasons my hand has been so frustrating is that I was really excited to stream games and stuff this week, and now I can't actually play games right now. I can just about play The Sims, because The Sims is primarily the mouse, and either I can do what little bit of keyboard stuff I need to with my right hand, or I can do it with my left hand because it's very infrequent. Like, it's really just changing the speed is what I tend to do. So yeah, it's really hard, and I think it's going to take me a while to find like what this schedule needs to be, other than don't exist before 10 a.m. I'm not sure I exist after 10 p.m. either, really, to be fair. There's like a 12-hour window where I'm likely to be functional. But what's hard is that I then have the decision fatigue, and I think what I want to work out is how I can have some kind of organization system or list system or something like that, where I can always know what my options are for stuff to do, and always know, if there are things that I definitely do need to do on a certain day, that's fine. I can just continue organizing that as I have done. And there are things like that. Like I've got therapy today, my first therapy session with my new therapist. See, I've got to go to that. In order to go to that, I had to make sure I was up on time. Although it's at 3:30, so there was I wasn't massively concerned about not making it on time. But yeah, so there's things like that, or if I know that I need to send an email on a certain day or that sort of thing. And because I do really benefit from making note of what I've done and what I'm doing. So I want to talk on Thursday to my mentor about what's the best way I can do that. How can I use the skills I have at personal organisation? I'm really skilled at it. Like, I genuinely list it on my CV as a thing I'm really good at. I organise people for a living and I'm great at it. It's the bit of my job that I love the most is the team management stuff, and that is not a sentence I thought I'd ever express. And if I could only do that bit, I'd be quite happy. Yeah, it's working out how can I use that in a way that's going to work with, I could suddenly have 4 days where I can't use one hand. Because whilst it's not that I'm worried specifically about this happening with my hand again, although I'm pretty sure it will, because hand pain is something I've had in the past, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if that recurred. Also, I do type a vast amount, so it's not surprising that pain occurs in one of the parts of my body I'm using the most. Equally, it's not surprising that it occurs in my back, because I sit in a chair all day, and I'm you know, I can't actually move around too much because that will also, I understand the trouble I had when I was going into campus so much more now. Because I was really frustrated. I was like, why am I tired all the time? Every day following me going into university, I'm absolutely ruined. But it's because my illness makes me struggle with energy levels, and I was walking 20,000 steps a day on campus. And the thing, yeah, and that was obviously when I could walk better. And I was able to cope a lot better once I started doing things like walking with my stick, not using the stairs all the time in the library, and actually using the elevator every time. Did I really just say elevator? I've been around too many Americans. It's a plague. Oh no, we shouldn't use the word plague in 2020. It's got a very different weight to it. Yeah, so I can make adjustments so that I can still do things like that. It's just a case of identifying what those adjustments are and finding them, and that's going to take a while because, you know, I only got diagnosed 3 weeks ago. And I'm still learning things. I'm going to learn more when I get the referral to the pain clinic and they can start telling me things. But it's realizing that I need to have the stuff in place, and this is what I was talking about yesterday. Have the things in place so that I can always cope with whatever happens, and I always know how to cope with whatever happens. In the same way that I've got my list of, yeah, I don't think I've ever showed this on stream, have I? Is it going to be the right way around? Yeah, hold on. So, this, oh, there we go, that is this is my self-care board, and this is my list of things that I can do as acts of self-care when I need to. So when I first started doing that, one second. When I first started doing that, it was anytime I had a thought that was unpleasant and intrusive, or a feeling that was intrusive, or anything like that, I would do an act of self-care. But having the list took away the decision fatigue. It meant that I never had to go, oh, but I don't know what to do. And that's what I want lists to do. I want to be able to come to my desk and go, okay, I'm ready to do... My phone was ringing then, that was awkward. I'm ready to do something productive. What can I do? What do I need to do? And having that organised in some way, I think, is going to be really important. And I think actually coming here and streaming is a big part of that. It's interesting how I stop myself from doing it every day, but now I've just done it 2 days in a row. Because it really does help me, and I think it's really surprised me how beneficial it's been, especially considering the majority of the time it is just me here, and obviously I do aspire to there being people to talk to. But it's lovely that this time around, because obviously I tried streaming like properly a couple of years ago. I did well enough to get affiliate, so you know, I did really well. But I found I was very focused on the numbers, and I was very focused on how well I was doing, and I wasn't really focused on enjoying myself or doing, you know, I didn't work out what I wanted to do. So I never felt comfortable, and I feel a lot more comfortable here like this than I ever did when I was trying to force myself to stream certain things, because I knew that they'd get more viewers and stuff. And yeah, you know, there's definitely things I could be doing to have more people here, like not streaming at random times in the UK daytime. But I'd rather it took longer to gain any kind of community, but that when I did, that community was in the thing that I wanted to be in and with the people I wanted to be in. So one of the things I am thinking of doing, I spent some of today like going through just chatting. This is when I sat down to do stuff today. I sorted all my emails out, And I also had a peek around Just Chatting to see what people were doing, and how it was weird and different and interesting. And I found someone streaming themselves working, and they would work in 50 minutes and then talk to the stream for 10 minutes and then work for 50 minutes again. And it's the thing I've seen on YouTube a lot, not so much on Twitch. So it was lovely to find that it's here on Twitch as well. And maybe that's something that I can do in the future. Less so, I think, when I'm creative writing, because I get really uncomfortable with people reading my writing as I'm writing it. Really uncomfortable. But if I'm doing something like reading, so I need to do the reading for my reading group next week, so I might stream that later this week. I think that could be really fun, especially because a lot of the stuff I'm reading right now is digital, so it's really easy for me to put it in front of you. Yes, stuff like that. So I think that's my plan here, and I just need to work out what my plan is generally, but I'm trying not to rush because it's not been very long and I'm still getting used to everything. I'm still processing it all emotionally. So I really like very lovely, wholesome British competitions of any kind. So I've just watched all of the Great British Sewing Bee, which has led to me buying a load of stuff to make gifts with for Christmas. Which knitting when you can't use one hand very well, not the easiest thing to do. My poor scarf, which that said, this scarf is super long now. Like, can I hold it up? I think I can just about hold it up. Look. It's a very long scarf, and I've still got a whole ball of wool to go for it. It's meant to be a sort of lounging scarf. But then I've got stuff to make a blanket for someone for Christmas, and I've got an embroidery kit because I wanted to try embroidery. But then since then I've also been watching Best Home Cook, which is another, I just watch BBC competitions where they're really wholesome and everyone helps each other and they're really nice, and it's not really a competition, it's just some people being lovely together. But I was sobbing yesterday at people being told that their risottos were bad or that their chocolate brownies were good, and but it sort of started, and then that's a no pretzel. Hoopy jump. So yeah, so once I'd started crying, it did not stop. I found a puzzle piece in the jigsaw I was doing that I'd been looking for ages. That made me cry as well. I got a message from one of my friends that said, "Hello." Suddenly I was crying again, and I just sort of just couldn't stop. The cat came and headbutted me, and that completely ruined me. Yes. So it's a process, and I am processing a lot, and I'm trying to be really gentle even in the face of deadlines. I've got a big deadline for uni, obviously. I've got deadlines for work. I've got deadlines for other things. I've got some stuff I really need to organise. I need to get reassessed for my PIP, which is disability benefit, basically, because I now can't walk a lot of the time. And that makes what I should be receiving very different. And also getting like all my medical paperwork sorted so I can apply for a disabled parking badge, so that when we do go to the supermarket, I no longer have to walk across the entire car park and then be in agony by the time I've even got to the supermarket door, which is currently what's happening. Yeah, and all sorts of things like that, and it's a lot to deal with, and I have been trying to deal with too much alongside that for too long, and I'm not going to do that anymore. So I think that's a good place to end today, also because we've been here half an hour now and my back is starting to really hurt, possibly because I'm sitting terribly. Hold on. All right, let's try not sitting terribly. That might help. But yeah, so thank you all very much for watching. I did actually remember to record today, so I'll be able to put yesterday and today up on YouTube. I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that later today. But yeah, thank you for watching and for being here, and I will see you at an undisclosed point in the future. I think we definitely will do a stream where I'll do my reading for next week, because I think that's a really cool one. So maybe we'll do that Thursday or Friday, or tomorrow. Who knows? I'll do it whenever I feel like doing it. All right. So thanks very much, and I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day.